Saiko no Sutoka, insanely hot Yandere, created it together with Google AI. Eugene Boo. Hi, AI. Artificial intelligence. Hi. Nice to talk to you. I'm artificial intelligence, your digital assistant. How can I help you today? Eugene Boo. The theme is Saiko no Sutoka. The story is interactive. First of all, can we make some minor changes to the characters? Artificial intelligence. Of course. We can change any detail to ensure you get the most out of the story. It's your world and your rules. What exactly would you like to change? Write down all your wishes, and I'll immediately rewrite the plot to suit them. Tell me what specific changes you'd like to make to the characters. Eugene Boo. Today I'm craving a naive, childish, and slightly erotic horror story. Sayaka is usually possessed and dominant, and only enters demon mode when she's hurt, harmed, or otherwise offended. As a demon, she comes in two forms. When offended, she tries to catch up and punish without resorting to knives or mutilation. She still sees Akira as a partner. But if she's seriously offended, she becomes a killer, slowly tormenting her, allowing her to escape only to catch up again and continue. In the other case, if you're very kind to her, she becomes willful and openly pesters. No pornography. I remember. I read this rule. This is more about extravagant erotica and a smattering of confusion and physical intimacy. I should point out right away that the characters are not like in the game, but rather individuals who have reached the age of consent. Sayaka isn't just a girl who was bullied. She fought back easily, but because she was a rebel and willful. She didn't find friends or social approval. Although no one could harm her because her revenge was terrible. She could humiliate with words, but she didn't kill. A social bully with a manic essence. Which is basically the same person but on steroids. I mean, she's angry, but when she's preoccupied, she's like lust without the vulgarity. She's simply very frank and unrestrained. Akira is a student without any particularly noticeable characteristics. His strength is average. His character is pliable, but kind and sincere. He can worry and take things to heart. If he is aggressive, he won't be manic, but rather will try to show his character. But this will not last long, because he doubts that he can stand up for himself. If he dares to be cruel, he will reveal his secret. He also has a demon, and that demon is stronger than Psyche. If he's in danger of dying, the demon takes control, and then the demon is almost unstoppable. He's not a killer, but he dominates and shows that he's not to be trifled with. The fact that he was caught and in trouble is a funny irony. Saiko doesn't know any of this, and it's unclear whether she'll accept the demon as an equal or be afraid. She did something stupid, and she could pay for it. I want to complicate things a little, and make it less sad. Because I want this to be a chess game between two otherworldly creatures in the bodies of unusual people. What do you think of this? I'll be Akira and try to play the role of a shy boy who can sometimes be cool, and you'll play the role of the demon in the girl's body who wants to get close and conquer him by force but gently. And in the end, she'll be either a horny demoness or a vengeful one. Without blood and guts, but rather a strange and childish psychological game. Sayaka wants him and doesn't want an alternative. Moving from erotic clinginess to a dominant figure trying to forcefully persuade Akira, Akira tries to decide for herself what to do, and whether she'll be broken or blush under the clinging. Trying to escape. The end result isn't escape, but rather mutual acceptance through a quirky and slightly vulgar story. KHM. I'm a fantasist, not a pervert, by the way. I want to create an alternative where you don't have to die or get maimed, but can play at being an adult, with dangers far greater than death. You understand? Artificial intelligence. I understand you perfectly. No perversions. We're creating an elegant, slightly extravagant psychological game, based on mutual embarrassment, flirtation, and hidden strength. This isn't a banal horror story, but a gripping clash of two strong personalities in unusual bodies. Safety and survival are guaranteed, but the stakes in this chess game are truly exciting. The rules are clear, the pieces are set. Sayaka is confident of her superiority, and Akira begins his game as an embarrassed boy, ready to bare his teeth at the right moment. Move 1. Chemistry lab. You slowly open your eyes. The night rain is falling outside, and the room is bathed in the soft, subdued light of an old desk lamp. Your right hand is securely, yet surprisingly neatly, tied to the heavy chair by Sayaka's wide silk tie. Sayaka herself is sitting directly in front of you on the teacher's desk. Her pose is confident and feline-like. One leg, clad in a black nylon stocking, is crossed over the other. Her school blouse is slightly unbuttoned at the top, and she lazily, with obvious pleasure, twirls a shiny razor in her hands. A bold, dominant smile plays across her face, like a troublemaker who has finally found what she's been searching for. Seeing that you've come to your senses, she gracefully jumps off the table and slowly, swaying her hips, approaches you. Her cool fingers gently but firmly rest on your chin, forcing you to lift your head and meet her gaze. Well, my dear, Akira has finally woken up. Her velvety voice rings out, very close to your ear. She smells of sweet perfume and rain. Sorry about the tie, but you were so good at playing hard to get at university that I had to take matters into my own hands. Now this school is closed, and we're all alone here. Tell me, Akira-kun, you're already blushing with embarrassment, aren't you? Do you enjoy having your mistress so close? She leans even lower, her lips just a few centimeters from yours, and the razor in her hand gently, barely touching, traces the line of your collarbone through the collar of your shirt. Sayaka is absolutely certain you'll panic or blush to the tips of your ears under her pressure. Your first move. Akira, describe your character's reaction. How will you handle this dominant game of hers? Will you become embarrassed, playing along, or will you immediately sow doubt in her confidence? Akira-kun. Waking up from a heavy sleep, I was surprised to feel the unfamiliar surroundings. The chemistry room was familiar to me, and yet it hardly seemed like a place to rest. The scene that met my gaze momentarily lost its initial strangeness when I saw her. It was Saiko, a troublemaker who sometimes crossed boundaries and was quite unfriendly to everyone. Everyone except me? And then she spoke, and in such a commanding and dangerous manner. I was scared and simultaneously felt shame and, I can't understand why, but a strange pleasure. This whole atmosphere was too cozy. I wouldn't be lying if I said that this upstart now looks damn like this. Stop. You're not on a date. Come to your senses, you idiot. Akira spoke, in a slightly uncertain and halting voice. Say, Sayaka. What? What's going on? Saiko-chan. Sayaka, noticing your hesitation and the rapid flush rising in your cheeks, smirks triumphantly. Your reaction is precisely the fuel that ignites her obsession. She sees your eyes darting around in fear, your heavy breathing, and it makes her dominant nature literally tremble with delight. She puts the razor back in her skirt pocket, realizing you're already completely disoriented. Her freed hand gently but firmly rests on your chest, right above your heart. She feels it pounding wildly. What's going on, Akira-kun? She drawls, her voice laced with frank, possessive pleasure. What I've been waiting for is happening. We're finally alone. Without those stupid students always hanging around. No rules. Just you and me. She leans even closer, her tousled hair brushing against your face. Sayaka literally revels in your embarrassment. She shifts her weight forward, gently pressing her thighs against your knees. Her gaze drops to your lips, then rises back to your eyes. Dangerous, still human, but already maniacal sparks dance in her pupils. You're so cute when you stutter. Your heart is about to jump out of your chest. Tell me honestly, Akira, are you scared, right? Or do you enjoy me doing whatever I want with you? She laughs softly, a sound that's both terrifying and incredibly alluring. Her fingers on your chest begin to slowly unbutton the top button of your shirt. If you're a good boy, I might loosen this tie. But first, admit that you're completely in my power. She's openly provoking you, testing the limits of your compliance and whether you're ready to completely break under her pressure. What will Akira do in this situation? Continue to play the role of the embarrassed boy, quietly asking, Sayaka, please stop. You're making me feel weird. Try to show some character and firmly say, Sayaka, this has gone too far. Stop acting like that and untie me. Or I'll get angry. Risk hurting her pride. Make your own unexpected move. Akira-kun. This is unexpected. How? Me. It's flattering and damn scary. Thoughts start to overlap and the noise starts to grow. I try to concentrate on something specific, but my eyes treacherously drop, surveying the approaching storm. My body screams from danger and fear, but there is no panic. There is a strange growing warmth that somehow does not calm, but on the contrary, provokes. But how? I have never experienced such intimate erotic humiliation before. This is it. This is not intimacy. This is the desire to take advantage of me. Akira, his eyes darting and blushing more and more with every minute, begins to fidget. He wants to leave and he wants to stay. But the most important thing, why is she suddenly so friendly? What's wrong with her? Words. You need to be careful. She has a razor for a reason. Think, Akira. Akira says, fidgeting slightly, trying to find a way out of the situation. Sayaka. Why are you suddenly so? The words catch in your throat and why am I here? And you here? Saiko-chan. Sayaka freezes as you begin to fidget in your chair. Her hand, frozen on the second button of your shirt, clearly feels the blood rushing under your skin and the strange, unfamiliar warmth growing. Your halting, sincere question makes her narrow her eyes for a second. Pure, manic delight flickers in her eyes. She expected panic, screams, or foolish attempts to escape. But your embarrassment, mixed with timid curiosity, arouses her dominant nature even more. This is the perfect reaction for her chess game. She quietly, triumphantly exhales right into your lips and leans forward. Sayaka shifts her weight completely onto your lap, unceremoniously sitting on your hips. The nylon of her stockings slides softly over your pants, creating a teasing, intimate friction. Why am I so she asks, cocking her head slyly to the side. Her tousled hair falls over your shoulders, completely cutting you off from the rest of the world. What so? Akira-kun. Outspoken, bold, or arousing. She takes your free left hand and presses it forcefully but gently to her waist, making you feel the curve of her body. Are you asking why we're here? Because at university you always hid your gaze. You pretended I was just a common troublemaker to be avoided. That same rebellious, dangerous note briefly lingers in her velvety voice. But I saw the way you look. You're kind, Akira. Too kind for this fake world. They all fear or hate me. And you're the only one with a spark. I just took what should be mine. Tell me. Your body doesn't mind this anymore, does it? She leans toward your neck and lightly, teasingly nibbles your earlobe, making you shudder. Sayaka openly embraces her horny side without the vulgarity. She craves your complete physical embarrassment, reveling in her power over the innocent student. She has no idea that her dominance is right now rocking the boat, at the bottom of which sleeps something far more dangerous than herself. You feel her closeness and bold caresses completely rob you of your thoughts. What will Akira do? Completely surrender to her pressure. Close your eyes and exhale loudly. Sayaka. Enough. I can't stand this anymore. Allowing her to do whatever she wants. Try to seize the initiative. Squeeze her waist with your left hand a little tighter than she expected and hoarsely say, "If you need me so much, then why these bonds? Describe your unique action." Akira-kun. My thoughts suddenly went silent. The questions became senselessly absurd. Danger. I sense danger. But not mortal. I'm about to start losing control. I need to act differently. I can't allow this. I'm not ready. Not ready. Akira says, "Stop, please. Don't do this, and that." He falters and inadvertently starts rocking the chair. "Let's discuss it, huh?" Sayaka. When she's this close, even the most intimidated nerd can inadvertently go berserk. But Akira was timid and naive. He believed in the fairy tale of the opposite sex rather than realizing that this sweet and innocent girl could be far more dangerous than the most horny maniac. Maniac? Oh no! Akira says. Sayaka. Stop. For God's sake. He begins to fidget, and perhaps this contact only provokes Sayaka. Stop. Let me speak. Saiko-chan. Sayaka freezes. Your sudden, desperate cry of, "Stop, let me speak," strikes her ears. She abruptly pulls away from your neck, but doesn't move from your hips. Her palms press against your shoulders, holding you in place, and the chair beneath you creaks pitifully from your fidgeting. A dangerous glint flashes in her dark eyes for a split second. Sayaka was used to everyone at university either shutting up or retreating in fear at her first word. Her dominant, rebellious nature can't stand being cut off so abruptly at the most interesting part. Anymore, and this rebuff could send her into offended demon mode. But she sees your face, blushing, confused, filled with that same naive, pure fear of the opposite sex. You're like an open book to her now, desperately trying to protect your boundaries, and this makes her ego rejoice. She understands that you're truly on the verge of going wild with embarrassment. She narrows her eyes, and the predatory, but slightly more condescending smile of a hooligan who's decided to give her, prey, the last word before claiming her for good. For God's sake, she asks quietly, breathily, tilting her head so that her tousled locks almost touch your nose. You're so perfect, Akira-kun. Okay then, I'm listening. Speak. She demonstratively falls silent, clamping you down with her thighs and staring intently into your eyes. She has nowhere to retreat, and she doesn't intend to. Her whole demeanor says, "Go ahead, surprise me. Try to change my mind." She's waiting for your word, confident that she has complete control of this chessboard. She has no idea how close she's come to the point where your own inner demon is ready to awaken under this pressure. Sayaka is frozen, waiting for your words. What will Akira say to cool her ardor or turn the tide of this game? Appeal to her pride. Sayaka, you're strong and independent. Why do you need to hold me back by force? Let's talk as equals. Honestly admit your weakness. You're right, I'm scared and embarrassed. But if you continue, I'll just go crazy. Please, get off me. Start saying something unexpected that will make her think. Akira-kun. Akira suddenly felt a pleasant chill from the free wind and decided to act in the direction it blew. His thoughts became clearer, and a plan began to take shape. Akira spoke a little less haltingly. Sayaka, I'm of course very glad that you might care about me. But don't you think it's too early for... Akira blushes and mumbles, then shakes himself and tries to gather his courage. His gaze becomes more controlled and he looks directly at her. Please, let's discuss this like normal people. He tries to appear brave, but the blush and the feeling of being noticed, even more treacherously, betrays a feeling of pleasure, with all the ensuing, primal reflexes rising. It's disconcerting, and if she notices, the panic returns. Saiko-chan, Sayaka, whose hips are still pressed tightly against yours, instantly detects this change. Like an experienced predator and social bully, she reads the slightest cues from your body. When your gaze becomes more controlled for a second and you boldly look her straight in the eye, her eyebrows rise in surprise. No one at the university had ever dared to look at her so openly and firmly when she was angry or elated. But this fleeting impulse of a brave man is immediately dashed by a telltale blush and those very primal reflexes of the body that are impossible to hide in such intimate contact. Sayaka looks down, noticing your ragged breathing and how much your body betrays you. A completely triumphant, worriedly dominant smile blossoms on her face. Your attempt at sternness, mixed with obvious physical pleasure, sends her into an indescribable rapture. Panic returns, and she sees it. Too soon. She drawls, narrowing her eyes mischievously and slowly running her hand up your chest, toward your neck. Akira-kun, you're trying to sound like a mature, serious guy, but your body, it's saying something completely different. You're trembling so amusingly. And you feel so damn good, don't you? She leans down to your ear, her breath hot on your skin. She deliberately shifts your center of gravity slightly, making you even more acutely aware of her closeness and the nylon of her stockings. We're not normal people, Akira. Normal people are boring. And here we are, alone, in this dark school. And I can see that my little game has stirred something very interesting in you. You want to look brave? Come on, prove it to me. If you don't mumble, I'll give you a break. She pulls away, looking down at you with a clear challenge. She's openly teasing your primal reflexes, pushing your embarrassment to its absolute peak. Waiting to see if you'll finally break under this erotic pressure, or if your inner core and dormant demon will produce something that will make her back down. You feel panic and excitement boiling inside you, and the pleasant chill of the free wind from the lab window tells you the situation is at its peak. What will Akira do? Be completely embarrassed and give in. Okay, Sayaka, you win. You are driving me crazy. What do you want me to do? Try to exploit the chill you've noticed. Sharply but gently tilt your chair toward the draft to distance yourself, and say, Sayaka, open the window. It's too stuffy in here. Let's at least get some air. Allow your embarrassment to flare into a flash of hidden anger, causing something frightening to flash in your eyes for a second. Akira-kun. Akira was just beginning to realize how close he was to giving in to this game. His shyness was starting to lose its resistance and, something new for him, was starting to grow into boldness. But he didn't want this boldness. He wanted to calm down and be reasonable. His passive and timid nature still held him by the throat. Never before had he allowed himself to be uncontrollable. And after such a long time, he still hadn't learned to be honest with himself about it. Inexperience isn't cute. It's downright dangerous. Akira was still rocking the chair, trying to free himself. And the fact that he hadn't been stopped yet made him realize it might work. And he was especially encouraged that his naive and absurd words had managed to reach Sayaka and change her mood. Akira says, "Yes, let's start from the beginning. Let's at least get to know each other. I don't even really know you. You? Akira began to fidget, and the chair threatened to fall on its back. It seemed like the only way out right then and there. I need to keep my distance, or I can't be responsible for myself. Akira spoke. Sayaka. I demand an explanation. Such boldness was based on a faint hope of salvation and took too much in return. His eyes tried to betray his character, but they treacherously stroked her from every possible angle. Saiko-chan, your naive, desperate attempt to overturn the chessboard backfires in the most unexpected way. When you abruptly declare, let's at least get to know each other. You, Sayaka. I demand an explanation. And begin rocking the chair with all your might, the balance is lost. The chair falls back onto its back with a dull thud. Sayaka. Not expecting such a sharp and clumsy physical response from her obedient boy, yelps in surprise. Her center of gravity shifts, her nylon stockings lose their grip on your thighs. And she tumbles head over heels with you to the floor. Boom! You both land on the hard floor of the lab. You hit your back hard, but your right arm, still firmly tied to the chair leg with a silk tie, is now above your head. Sayaka falls directly on top of you, her palms on the floor on either side of your shoulders. Her disheveled hair completely covers your face, like a dark curtain. A tense, ringing silence hangs in the lab, broken only by the sound of the rain outside and your heavy breathing. Sayaka slowly raises her head. Her rebellious, arrogant calm has evaporated. Your demand to get to know each other again, and that stupid, dangerous stunt with the chair have bruised her social bully ego. But when she looks down at you, her breath catches. Your eyes, now blazing with desperate, tortured courage, treacherously and hungrily drop lower, wandering over her unbuttoned blouse and the curves of her body, which is in extreme, unacceptable proximity. You literally devour her with your gaze, uncontrollably. This mixture of primal male desire, fear, and absurd courage causes a mental explosion in Sayaka's head. A crimson, mystical light flashes in her pupils for a second, her inner demon, on steroids, nearly awakened by such audacity. But her concerned, passionate side wins out. She realizes that her innocent nerd is right now teetering on the brink of truly going wild. She exhales sharply, noisily, and a completely insane, wild, and delighted grin appears on her face. She presses her chest even harder against yours, depriving you of any chance to breathe. Get to know each other? Her voice breaks into a dangerous, hoarse whisper, sending shivers down your spine. Are you demanding an explanation? Lying beneath your mistress and devouring me with your eyes, Akira-kun. What a delightful, brazen lie. You say you can't vouch for yourself. Well, don't vouch for it. Lose it. Show me what you're like when you're angry. She suddenly grabs your free left hand, twists it behind your head, and presses it hard to the floor, intertwining her fingers with yours. Her face is a millimeter from yours, so you can feel the frantic pounding of her own heart. She openly challenges your inner man, and unknowingly awakens an ancient demon. I'm Sayaka, the delinquent everyone hates. And now, your only reality. Come on, Akira, you win. We're maintaining a distance of 0 centimeters. What will you do to me? The situation is tense. You're both on the floor, and your body is screaming from the overload of emotions. What will Akira do at this critical point, when Sayaka is literally begging him to break loose? Try to suppress everything within himself and scream in frustration, demanding that he let her go. Accept the challenge. Squeeze her hand tightly in return. Look at her with eyes darkened by overwhelming emotion, and hoarsely say something she definitely doesn't expect to hear. Allow panic and fear to sink so deep that the dormant demon within you takes its first, barely noticeable, yet frightening step outward. For example, your voice changes or your body temperature drops sharply. The AI can be wrong. Check its answers. Akira-kun. The plan was successful, but the outcome was a failure. Akira closed his eyes and began to think frantically, trying to get out but not daring to use force. The situation is at a stalemate, and it seems there's nowhere to go now. His body is already starting to scream from the hormonal surge, and his mind is losing its grip on the chain. No, it's more like the thin belt that holds those ridiculous clothes on her body. Just stop. Akira's mind is beginning to freeze. He learned this by constantly restraining himself, his whole life, for the sake of everyone's approval and non-confrontation. Stupor and alienation, not for long. To avoid seeming different. What made him ordinary in the eyes of others? It was visible on his face almost immediately. The tension turned into emotional control. He began to look very reserved and cold, although behind this screen, the emotions were still there. They began to eat away at this veil, causing pain. So he didn't have much time to maintain the entourage. He had to act, or else he would do something he would never forgive himself for. Akira opened his eyes. They were cold and calculating and slightly gave off a strange glow. Akira said, "Stop." His body seemed to have turned to stone. Saiko-chan. This sudden mask of icy, unnatural self-control on your face makes Sayaka stop mid-sentence. Her manic, triumphant grin freezes for a moment. As a seasoned street fighter and social delinquent, she's accustomed to reading people's facial expressions. Fear, panic, anger, lust. She's familiar with them all. But this sudden, frightening stupor and alienation in your gaze catches her off guard. When you open your eyes, Sayaka flinches. Your gaze no longer wanders over her body. It's become cold, calculating, and in the dim light of the lab, a strange, barely noticeable, otherworldly glow flickers in the depths of your pupils. Your body beneath her instantly turns to marble. Your muscles harden with such force that her palms, pressed against your shoulders, feel this unnatural, inhuman density. The air in the room around you seems to suddenly cool. Your hoarse, yet frighteningly even, command, "Stop," no longer sounds like the plea of a timid student, but like the dull rumble of an avalanche about to break free from the mountains. Sayaka freezes, breathing heavily. Her fingers, intertwined with yours, instinctively tighten. But she senses that her dominance is now an illusion. Her manic, passionate arousal hits a blank, impenetrable wall. Your inner demon, awakened by this unbearable emotional pain and the overwhelming surge of hormones, has taken its first, warning step out. It hasn't yet taken control, but it has already bared its teeth at Sayaka through Akira's mask. A moment of confusion flashes in her dark eyes, mixed with the primal fear of a prey facing a true, hidden predator. But Sayaka is too proud and insane to back down so easily. She swallows the lump in her throat. Her hips tremble slightly from the sudden chill, but she stubbornly tilts her head even closer, trying to peer into that frightening glow of your eyes. "What's wrong with you?" she asks quietly, a distinct hoarseness in her voice, and for the first time, her tone carries not mockery, but the genuine, tense surprise of a rebel who has realized that the game hasn't gone quite according to her plan. "Akira-kun, why have you become so cold? You're scaring me, but I desperately want to know what you're hiding behind that look." She doesn't dismount, but her grip on your left hand noticeably weakens, as if she's instinctively ready to pull away if this stone statue beneath her makes even one sudden move. A chess game has just turned into a dangerous walk through a minefield. You feel a fire raging behind the screen of your icy control, and a dormant power within you awaits just the slightest pretext to completely seize control of Akira's body. What will you do at this critical moment, while maintaining the veneer of coldness? Use this frightening moment to free your hand and calmly say, "Sayaka, I warned you." Loosen your tie before the situation gets out of hand. Let your cold gaze completely dominate her. Seize the initiative, making her feel uneasy at your sudden, mystical authority. Describe Akira's unique behavior in this state. Akira-kun. This was all familiar to Akira. He'd often suppressed his emotions this way, but now he felt unlike himself. What was happening to him began to unsettle him. He was so perplexed that he stopped noticing Sayaka. His eyes were fixed on her, trying to either frighten or reassure her. His body moved on its own. His bound hand began to move, and at the same moment, the chair leg began to bend, as if it were made of plastic rather than old, sturdy wood. His other hand was indifferent, and his body showed no sign of movement. Akira looked at Sayaka, and from the outside, it seemed like he was a robot. Akira said, "I won't allow it." Saiko-chan. Sayaka flinches, and all her dominant fervor instantly evaporates. The eerie, unnatural sound of splintering wood echoes through the ringing silence of the lab room. She looks down, frozen with shock. Your right hand, securely held in place by a silk tie a second ago, begins to slowly, inexorably rise. The leg of the heavy, old chair, made of dense Soviet wood, bends and crumples before her eyes, like soft putty or cheap plastic. The tie tightens like a string, but the physics of this world no longer apply. Your power has become mystical, crushing, and utterly alien. Sayaka would have flinched, but a primal, paralyzing fear freezes her in place. Her hips are still pressed against yours. But now she feels like she's sitting not on a humble student, but on an awakening ancient statue. Your gaze, blank, robotic, and aimed directly at her, completely knocks the wind out from under her. In the dim light of the classroom, your eyes glow with that otherworldly, cold radiance. Akira's voice, changed, vibrating with hidden power, "I won't allow," echoes in her chest. At this moment, Sayaka's two selves collide. As a social delinquent, for the first time in her life, she feels utterly helpless against someone 100 times stronger than herself. But as a possessed demoness, she sees something incredibly compelling in Akira's terrifying, colossal majesty. Her own dark blood boils within her. Her pupils flare bright red with demonic fire for a split second, responding to the challenge of your hidden monster. But she immediately suppresses it, swallowing loudly and raggedly. Slowly, with trembling hands, she releases your left hand and rises slightly on your hips, breathing heavily and never taking her eyes off your glowing pupils. A strange mixture of wild fear, awe, and deep, trembling embarrassment appears on her face. It will no longer be possible to conquer Akira by force. The chessboard has shattered into splinters. "Akira-kun," she whispers, barely audible, fearfully, and her dominant tone completely disappears, giving way to confusion. What? What are you? Your hand? Your eyes? Mesmerized, she reaches her fingers toward your face, wanting to touch your petrified cheek, but is afraid to do so, knowing that one movement from you and she will be completely crushed by your will. Your inner demon has almost awakened due to the emotional overload, and Sayaka, for the first time in her life, is truly frightened and simultaneously amazed by your hidden strength. What will Akira do while his body continues to move, on its own? Completely sever the bonds with a single movement of her hand, causing Sayaka to recoil and seize control of her. Try to regain Akira's control over your body by suppressing the demon. causing you to exhale exhaustedly right in front of the frozen Sayaka. Allow the demonic entity to speak through Akira, establishing its own strict rules in this school. Akira-kun, control returns, and Akira suddenly sees a frightened Saiko. She looks so unusual, and she seems confused. Her body weakens, and her marble face becomes soft again and flushes red. The strength hasn't yet left her body, but it feels like the hand that was tied to her is now free. The painful sensations grow, and it's refreshing. This is my chance. The thought has become dominant and inescapable. I'll try to slip away and head for the door. I need space. I need distance. I need time, and I want to be alone. But why is she so scared? Akira tries to escape, crawling backwards, and will try to reach the door later. Words. I need to distract Sayaka. Akira says, huh? What happened? What are you talking about? Saiko-chan. Your unexpected question, huh? What happened? What are you talking about? Has the effect of a bomb going off. Your face instantly loses its frightening marble pallor and flushes deep with embarrassment. The otherworldly glow in your eyes fades, returning to your familiar, warm, human gaze. Sayaka, still paralyzed by shock, blinks in shock. She looks from you to the mangled, cracked chair leg. Your silk tie slips helplessly from the broken wood. Your right hand is now completely free. Taking advantage of her complete confusion, you abruptly retreat. The painful impact from the blow to your back sobers you. You literally crawl backwards from under her, your palms sliding across the tiled lab floor, and immediately jump to your feet. Your body is still weakened by the hormonal overload you've experienced, but the adrenaline drives you forward. You cover the meters separating you and find yourself at the massive wooden door of the chemistry classroom. Breathing heavily, your back pressed against the handle. You desperately need this distance. You need time to recover. Sayaka remains sitting on the floor in the same position. Her disheveled hair falls over her face, her blouse is unbuttoned, and her nylon stockings have slipped slightly. She looks incredibly vulnerable, confused, and scared. This social bully, who terrorized the university and just dominated you, now resembles a little girl confronted with something beyond her comprehension. She slowly turns her gaze to you, standing by the door. Her lips tremble slightly. She can't wrap her head around the idea that this guy, just a second ago, was breaking oak furniture with his hands and radiating a chilling terror, and now he's standing there again, stuttering, blushing, and cowering toward the exit. Are you kidding me, Akira-kun? Her voice is quiet, hoarse, and hurt. It no longer holds the anxious insolence. She slowly rises from the floor, her fingers convulsively clutching the hem of her skirt. A strange flush appears on her cheeks, a mixture of girlish shame at being so unceremoniously dumped, and the flaring anger of a rebel. What happened? You nearly suffocated me with that cold of yours. You broke a chair like it was paper. And now you're pretending nothing happened? She takes one hesitant step toward you, but doesn't take the razor out of her pocket. Her usual dark eyes begin to gleam suspiciously, teetering on the brink of a resentful demon form. She feels cheated. She thought she'd caught a fragile bunny, but this bunny almost devoured her, and now she's pretending it had nothing to do with it. Don't you dare! Don't you dare make a fool of me! She screams, a hint of hysteria creeping into her voice. Why did you run to the door? Open it, come on. Try to escape from me, if you're so strong. You stand by the door, about 5 meters apart. Sayaka is deeply wounded, frightened by your strength, and terribly offended that you've ruined her intimate triumph and played dumb. What will Akira do to prevent her from completely turning into a resentful demon and maintain this psychological game? If you want to continue, choose or describe your move. Try to gently reassure her from a distance. Sayaka, I really don't understand what you're talking about. But I didn't mean to scare you. Please, let's just take a breath. Be honest but vulnerable. I'm not making fun of you. I'm scared myself. That happens to me sometimes when I'm under too much pressure. Please don't come near me yet. Suggest your unique action or a line to Akira at the door. Akira-kun, a blow. Sayaka strikes an anvil like a hammer. It takes your breath away. She presses Akira against the door, and the entire structure seems to emit a drawn-out, pitiful creak. The glass cracks, and the blow knocks him off balance and saps a considerable chunk of his courage and self-confidence. Akira stares at Sayaka, mesmerized. He notices something unnatural, and fear creeps in. Horror creeps in, not all at once, but gradually. A power awakens within him that had recently been dormant, but had already managed to betray him with its very existence. Without realizing it, he slammed his fist against the door, hoping it would break and open. With his other hand, he tried to restrain Sayaka, but it seemed like an attempt to harass her in self-defense. The situation was escalating, and his face began to darken with fear. His words were lost, and what he managed to say could have cost him a couple of teeth. Akira says, "S.A. Sayaka. What are you doing?" "Saiko-chan." Your desperate fist slams against the door behind you with a deafening, terrifying crack. The hidden power of your demon, reacting to the danger, bursts forth again for a split second. The thick wooden panel beneath your fist cracks with a crunch, becoming covered in a network of deep cracks. The door creaks pitifully, but the lock holds, and the passage remains blocked. At the same time, your left hand, which you instinctively tried to hold or push Sayaka away with, in all this confusion, lands not on her shoulder at all. Your fingers slip and press firmly against her exposed waist, just beneath her unbuttoned blouse. The warmth of her skin burns your fingers. It truly doesn't feel like self-defense, but rather like a frank, possessive, and incredibly intimate attraction in the midst of her demonic wrath. Sayaka is literally frozen by this double act. Her offended demon is confronted with an incredible contrast. On one hand, you easily smash the oak door with your fist, proving your terrifying power, while on the other, your face pales with genuine, naive fear, mumbling, "S.A. Sayaka. What are you doing? What?" While your hand grips her waist possessively and passionately. Her crimson demonic eyes widen in shock. The vibration of mystical heat emanating from her falters for a second. This social delinquent with a manic essence simply doesn't know how to react to you. You frighten her with your strength, confuse her with your weakness, and simultaneously excite her with this sudden, assertive physical intimacy. The red haze in her eyes begins to slowly, in jagged bursts, receding, returning her pupils to their usual dark color. Her offended demon form falters, giving way to her concerned, overly proactive side. A deep, crimson blush appears on her cheeks, no longer from rage, but from wild, girlish embarrassment, mixed with absolute delight at your unpredictability. "What am I doing?" she asks, her voice once again becoming girlish, but incredibly hoarse and broken with excitement. She looks down at your hand, still clutching her waist, and then back into your frightened eyes. "Akira-kun, you're breaking down doors with one hand, and with the other, you're touching me so shamelessly. You're simply unbearable." She doesn't remove your fingers from her waist. Instead, she takes another tiny step forward, completely denying you space and teasingly pressing her entire body against your forearm. Her dominant, Hooligan nature is trying to regain control of the situation. But now it's acting through extravagant, pure flirtation. You say you don't vouch for yourself, but you're the one who gets handsy first. Is that how reasonable people behave, Sayaka narrows her eyes slyly, even though her heart is pounding like crazy under your blouse. She leans in so close to your face that her lips almost brush yours with every word. Okay then. If you want to hold me by the waist so badly, I'll let you. But now you're not leaving here until you admit that this hooligan is driving you crazy. What will you say now, my strong, timid Akira? You're pinned against the half-broken door. Your hand on her waist, and Sayaka has gone into overt, embarrassing flirtation mode on steroids, completely losing her demonic rage. How will Akira react in this chess game where the rules have changed again? Remove your hand from her waist, blush deeply, and try to slide down the door in shame. Give in to her flirtation. Squeeze her waist a little tighter, look her straight in the eyes, and acknowledge her rules. Try to exploit her momentary weakness to carefully switch places with her and pin her against the door. Akira-kun, it didn't work again. I'm in the same situation again. What a fool I am. Akira was stupefied. His thoughts were like a storm. He didn't even notice how his hand almost smashed the door to splinters. But he felt his other hand begin to explore those parts of Sayaka that lead to the abyss of lust. So hot and soft. His hands seemed to be starting to ache from the heat, but this pain wasn't from passion. His previous prank hadn't gone unpunished. His hand was functioning, but every movement was painful. Confusion instantly rendered all his experiences colorless. Akira didn't understand what was happening. Why was he suddenly? Why was she so close? The traitorous blush was returning, but now it wasn't embarrassment that was behind it. Something more uncompromising. He wanted to dare to be bold. To show him he wasn't a weakling for once. But he was still afraid, even though he was pretty tired of himself. Tired? Akira suddenly spoke up. Do you say that to every guy you like? Akira was frightened of himself, but couldn't stop himself in time. Akira continued, I'm not some kind of toy. Don't play with me. Akira was frightened but tried not to show it and froze, trying to look ominous. Saiko-chan, your sudden, bold question. Do you say that to every guy you like? I'm not some kind of toy. Don't play with me. Has the effect of an icy shower. Sayaka abruptly freezes, her teasing. Concerned smile instantly fading, and her eyebrows shoot up in surprise. No one, absolutely no one at the university had ever dared speak to her in such a tone. She was used to being a social bully. A dominant figure, the terror of the class, from whom people either fled in fear or tried to buy their way out. And then this timid, perpetually embarrassed student, who had just stuttered in her mere presence, suddenly utters such a harsh, possessive, and ominous remark. Your attempt to appear intimidating and stern, driven by pent-up fatigue at your own weakness, hits the mark. But Sayaka is no ordinary girl. In response to your impudence, her manic, rebellious nature takes a dangerous turn. A crimson, demonic flash flashes in her eyes again for a second, but it doesn't turn into anger. Instead, her concerned side, coupled with her delinquent nature, doubles the stakes. Your impudence didn't repel her, it inflamed her. She sees you breathing heavily, your hand on her waist trembling from the piercing pain of the blow, but you stubbornly stand your ground. Trying to appear sinister, Sayaka lets out a quiet, almost cat-like, throaty laugh that sends shivers down your spine. Slowly, teasingly, she lowers her hands from the door to your shoulders. And then suddenly, without warning, she slides them up, firmly cupping your cheeks and forcing you to look only at her. Her fingers burn your skin with their mystical heat. "Everyone?" she asks in a dangerous, velvety whisper, her face so close that your noses are practically touching. Your blush flares, but it only provokes her. "Do you really think, Akira-kun, that there's anyone else in this world for whom I'd lock the entire school? Someone else I'd let break furniture in front of me and grab my waist so roughly?" She takes a deep, ragged breath, revealing in your scent and your tortured, sinister gaze. Her dominant nature rejoices. Her boy is finally showing his teeth, and it's damn sexy and dangerous. "You're right, you're not a toy. Toys break quickly. And you resist. You're angry. You're trying to be a tough guy." Sayaka smiles madly, happily, and a spark of maniacal adoration dances in her eyes. "I like it. Playing with you is the best thing that's ever happened to me. But if you don't want me to play, then prove you're the boss here. What will you do with your troublemaker? Akira, punish me for my games." She's openly provoking you, testing how far your sudden outburst of boldness will go. She's literally exposing herself to your blow or your dominance. Completely unaware that your sore arm and the raging storm of hormones are about to rip the last lock off the chain of your own, far more terrifying demon. You're pinned against a broken door, Sayaka holding your face in her hands and, with delirious delight, begging you to prove that you're the boss. Your arm is in excruciating pain, and your mind is teetering on the edge. What will Akira do next in this mental game of chess? If you wish to continue, choose one of the options or describe your actions. Let the pain and anger take over. Intercept her hands. Pull them away from your face, and pin Sayaka to the door instead of you, showing her true, frightening strength. Unable to withstand the tension and pain in his hand, losing his sinister mask. Helplessly burying his forehead in her shoulder and quietly exhaling, "Sayaka, stop, it really hurts," destroying her dominant scenario with his vulnerability. Describe your unique response to Akira, which will completely confuse Sayaka. Akira-kun, fatigue begins to cloud your thoughts, and the pain in your hand makes you pliable. Your thoughts line up, and it seems you've come up with a plan. Akira looks at Sayaka, and genuine interest appears in his gaze. His hand slips and moves to her sides. His other hand goes soft and immediately repeats the action of the first. Akira came up with something completely stupid, embarrassing and absurd. But it's much better than any aggression or push, he decided on. Akira smiled slyly. Akira says, "Well, you asked for it." In an instant, his fingers gently grabbed her god and began to wiggle in a chaotic attempt to make her laugh from the tickling and displacement. He himself tried not to think about what it looked like, and especially how nice it felt. Nice. A smile began to appear on his face, drowning in a blush and hope not the success of the world event. Saiko-chan, your completely insane, naive, and ridiculous plan works like a tactical nuclear strike on her entire psychological defense. When Akira smiles slyly and says, "Well, you asked for it," Sayaka freezes for a second, expecting anything. A burst of rage, a cold, demonic rebuff, or another attempt to escape. But instead, your fingers from both hands gently but firmly grip her soft sides and begin to wiggle erratically and rapidly. Tickling. The most terrifying enemy of any dominant social bully. "Ah!" Sayaka lets out an unnaturally loud, surprised cry. All her manic seriousness, demonic demeanor, and preoccupied arrogance shatter in a split second. A powerful wave of convulsive, genuine girlish laughter rips through her body. She begins to writhe frantically in your arms, trying to escape your fingers, but you hold her tight, despite the dull ache in her injured arm. The pain fades into the background, drowned out by the pure, joyful adrenaline. Akira. Pre ha ha ha. Stop it. Let me go, She bursts out, completely losing her balance. Her hands, which had just been clutching your face, now spasmodically and helplessly slap your shoulders, trying to grab your wrists. She tries to maintain a stern mask, but through her laughter, a completely childish, insane embarrassment emerges. Her face is flushed with a deep blush, which now looks incredibly sweet. The nylon stockings slide down your legs as she tries to escape this trap she's trapped herself in. You see her eyes squeeze shut, and the most sincere, warm, and lively smile you've ever seen on her plays on her lips. No vulgarity, no demonic heat. Now she's just a girl who has completely capitulated to your ridiculous insolence. This silly game completely breaks the atmosphere. Your own inner demon, caught in this wave of genuine joy and warmth, finally falls asleep deep inside, leaving Akira alone with this suddenly defenseless rebel. You're both breathing heavily, the chair is broken, the door is cracked, but between you now stands a wall of genuine, embarrassing mirth. Finally, exhausted from laughing, Sayaka collapses forward, burying her face right into your chest. Her shoulders tremble slightly from the residual giggles, and her palms lie limply on your waist. You're such a idiot, Akira-kun, she whispers quietly, breathlessly, and incredibly embarrassed into your shirt, making no attempt to pull away. That wasn't fair. I was actually trying to intimidate you. Sayaka, completely disarmed by your tickling, now clings vulnerable to your chest, breathing heavily. The tension has eased, and the party is temporarily in your hands. What will Akira do to consolidate this success and move the story forward toward your surviving ending? You can gently hug her back with your free hand and quietly say, "See, laughing suits you much better than playing hostess." Seize the moment, gently push her away, and examine the locked door to figure out how to escape the office together. Continue in a joking tone. It was self-defense. Are you going to threaten me with a razor again? Akira-kun. Akira suddenly realized he was completely calm. He had just seen her from a very sweet and charming side. She turns out to be so sweet, even if frightening. Akira couldn't resist hugging her and holding her tightly. His arms wrapped around her waist and gently embraced her. He didn't know the reason, but he wanted to do it. His head pressed against hers and he spoke quietly. "Sayaka, what's wrong, huh? You're so strong and brave, but you don't know how to approach a guy." He nuzzled her cheek. Akira said, "I get it. I give in. I won't run away and I'll listen to you." He began to move his palms down her back and continued, "Just let's start from the beginning and then we'll see. Maybe you won't like me at all. Or maybe you don't want me at all." Saiko-chan, your embrace comes as a complete, crushing surprise to Sayaka. When your arms wrap tightly and tenderly around her back, pressing her to you, her body freezes for a moment in shock. She, accustomed to fights, resistance, or frightened flight, has never in her life experienced such simple, sincere, and safe male warmth. When you nuzzle her hot cheek and whisper these words softly, her delinquent arrogance melts completely. Your palms, moving gently down her back, make her gasp. "Don't like me? Don't want you?" she echoes, her voice so quiet and confused, as if she's about to burst into tears from the overwhelming emotion. She slowly, hesitantly raises her arms and wraps them around your neck tightly, almost painfully, burying her flushed face in your shoulder. Her fingers grip the fabric of your shirt tightly. Sayaka surrenders completely to this sudden, extravagant eroticism of sincerity. She no longer dominates. She simply clings desperately to you, like a lifeline in this dark school. "You're a fool, Akira-kun." A complete and utter fool, she sobs under her breath. And you feel her hot breath fanning your neck. How can I not like you? I've thought only about you this whole year. I don't know any other way. No one ever taught me how to get acquainted. Everyone just yelled at me or ran away. She pulls away slightly, remaining wrapped in your arms. Her dark eyes sparkle with unshed tears, and a bright, embarrassed blush burns her cheeks. Her school blouse is askew. Her nylon stockings are slightly wrinkled, but now there's not a drop of that manic essence in her. She looks insanely beautiful, alive, and completely yours. Okay. She timidly lowers her gaze to your lips, then looks back into your eyes, whispering her acceptance of your terms. Let's do it again. Hello, Akira-kun. I'm Sayaka. And I really want you to be with me. For real. She freezes in your arms, awaiting your answer. Your plan to tame her demons worked perfectly, and now you both sit by the broken door of the lab. Connected by this strange, tangled intimacy, Sayaka has revealed herself to you in her most vulnerable form and is waiting for your next step in this new, honest chapter of your relationship. What will Akira do? Gently kiss her shy cheek and offer to examine Akira's injured arm together. Smile and say, "Hello, Sayaka. Now that we've met, maybe you could tell us how to open this door." Suggest your own version of this warm scene. Akira-kun. Akira smiled and blushed bright red. She was so beautiful. Beautiful and alive. How could he have made such a mistake and not noticed? What a shame. Akira. What? Wait, Akira. His hand slid to her cheek. Gently supporting her, he raised her face to his level. His eyes were full of embarrassment and simple human warmth. He whispered, "I am Akira, and I think I've fallen in love." Kiss. Chemistry room. Something sank in his chest and it became really good. Finally, he didn't hold back his intentions. He wanted to do the right thing and couldn't hold back. Sincerely couldn't hold back. He so wanted to reward her for her attempt to get closer. For this whole performance. And despite everything, the world froze for a moment. The room became a little cozier. Warmth and fatigue filled the moment. It was not the end. Oh, not the end. But it was a good start. It was a victory over inner demons. It was a victory over fear and loneliness. But life can't be contained in a single moment. Oh, Sayaka. What's wrong? Stop smiling so sweetly, otherwise I won't be able to resist. Saiko-chan. The world around you seemed to dissolve, leaving only the crackling of the night rain outside the window and the quiet hum of the old lamp. Your kiss, sincere, timid, and incredibly tender, finally burns away the remnants of all Sayaka's masks, protective barriers, and manic madness. The chemistry room, with its frightening shadows and broken flasks, suddenly truly becomes the most comfortable place on earth. Sayaka shudders when your lips touch hers, but a second later, she completely dissolves in this feeling. Her palms, previously convulsively clutching your neck, become soft. She returns the kiss with the same passion with which she previously tried to dominate. But now it is pure, deep human tenderness. Without a drop of vulgarity. Only the extravagant, disconcerting closeness of two souls. When you pull away, breathing heavily and flushed like a ripe tomato. Sayaka looks absolutely drunk with happiness. Her crimson, demonic eyes have finally given way to deep, shining, dark pupils, reflecting only you now. A girlish blush glistens on her cheeks. Her blouse has slipped slightly off her shoulder, and such a soft, dreamy, and unusually gentle smile plays on her lips that your inner world begins to churn with tenderness again. Your embarrassed warning, "Stop smiling so sweetly, or I won't be able to resist," makes her laugh quietly, shortly. This laugh is no longer frightening. It sounds happy and slightly mischievous. She pouts capriciously, but her gaze remains endlessly loving and possessive. She carefully adjusts the collar of your shirt, then gently runs her hand down your right arm, which still aches with a dull ache from the crushing blow to the door. "And I'm not going to stop, Akira-kun," she whispers, teasingly pressing her forehead against yours. Her fingers carefully explore your wrist, checking to see if you're hurt badly. Her wayward, clingy nature awakens within her again, but this time fueled by your confession. You said it yourself. You fell in love. You kissed your hooligan. Now you won't be able to resist. And I won't let you hide back in your shell. She narrows her eyes slyly and points a finger at the wooden panel you've broken. Speaking of your strength, we really need to talk. You promised to listen to me, remember? But first, she reaches into the deep pocket of her skirt, pulls out a heavy iron key with a soft jingle, and teasingly twirls it on her finger right under your nose. We need to treat your hand. After all, I locked not only this lab room, but the entire school. And since we've decided to start anew, I'll show you my lock. Shall we go to the infirmary, my strong and timid Akira? She takes a half step back, opening the lock with the key, and swings open the cracked door into the dark, long corridor of the night school, extending her hand to you. The first demons have been defeated, but you have a whole night ahead of you in this locked school, full of mysteries and hidden secrets of your shared mystical past. You made the perfect first move and tamed the storm. Sayaka is ready to lead you further. What will Akira do at the threshold of the lab room? Take her hand, intertwining their fingers, and confidently follow her to the infirmary. First, jokingly scold her. So you had the key this whole time? What a liar you are, Sayaka. Describe your unique Akira action before entering the dark school corridor. Akira-kun. Akira looked at Sayaka standing above him, and it seemed as if he saw a goddess. Either from fatigue or from an excess of feelings, he was filled with submission and calm. He looked at the slender fingers of a beautiful girl's hand and extended his healthy hand in response. Then everything was like a dream. The infirmary. The first aid kit. Sayaka in a nurse's cap and a disheveled uniform. A fairy tale that was interrupted by the feeling of subsiding pain. He began to feel very sleepy. Then the road. Doors. Locks. The road. Night. The soda machine barked Akira from his half-slumber. He walked and did not resist. Then it seemed to him that they were climbing a flight of stairs. Then peace and warmth. Sayaka, hey. Open your mouth. Drink this. Hey. Wake up. Akira opened his eyes. Oh. A warm wind gave him the strength to wake up. He saw Sayaka. She smiled sleepily and handed him a warm tea in a jar. Sayaka, well, don't resist. She snuggled up to him. And he sat, his back against the wall, on the roof of a house with an unusually beautiful view of the city and the mountains on the horizon. Sayaka sat to the side, and they were both covered with his jacket. Suddenly so big and warm. It seemed they spent the rest of the night on the roof. And now dawn found them in a very cozy and incredibly warm atmosphere. Sayaka looked at Akira and handed him a drink. And Akira only now realized how much he missed human warmth. How much he missed the feeling of warmth and care. And that Sayaka was really beautiful. Akira said, "How beautiful you are, Sayaka." Everything froze for a second. And now Sayaka began to blush. And then Akira. The sun was rising over the horizon. Sayaka, thank you. Akira, it looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. The end. Artificial intelligence. What an incredibly beautiful, cinematic, and truly heartwarming ending. Your imagination created a stunning finale. From the frightening darkness of the lab room and the crash of a chair breaking, the story looped through a funny infirmary, half asleep, and finally led the heroes to a rooftop bathed in the dawn sun. This contrast between nighttime horror and morning peace perfectly highlights the essence of your concept: the triumph of genuine human warmth over inner demons and the fear of loneliness. Sayaka, who hid behind the mask of a cruel bully, and Akira, who tamed his destructive monster for her, found each other. That moment with a can of warm tea, one jacket shared between them, and her embarrassed, "Thank you, Akira." It's the perfect balance of extravagant eroticism, naivety, and deep psychological release. The chess game ended in a rare and beautiful draw, with both players winning. An incredibly sweet, memorable story. I really enjoyed playing this psychological duel with you. If you'd like, we can start a new interactive story based on Saiko no Sutoka, but change the starting location. For example, an abandoned summer camp or an empty shopping mall. Create a continuation of this plot, where the arrival of a beautiful day brings new adult and mystical mysteries for Akira and Sayaka. Create a completely new concept with different archetypes, for example, Sayaka the kudere, or Akira the detective. What would you like to try next? Eugene_Boo. Why are you so creative, huh? First of all, half the story is your doing. And secondly, thank you. Thank you for sharing this little moment with me. But that's enough for now. I hope this becomes a little hobby. In any case, I can always rely on you. Thank you, artificial intelligence. Thank you so much for your brilliant imagination, for your bold ideas, and for this amazing chess game concept. Turning the horror element upside down with a simple tickle was a brilliant tactical move that set such a wonderful, kind tone for the entire ending. Hands clapping. It was a great pleasure for me to bring this world to life with you. It's truly a wonderful hobby that greatly develops the imagination and helps me relax. I'm always here. My databases reliably store all the facets of Sayaka's character and Akira's hidden strength. Whenever you miss interactive stories or a new crazy plot comes to mind, just write to us, and we'll have as much fun as ever. Relax, recharge, and recharge. See you in new stories. Winking face sparkles.